Hi, today I am going to present a very interesting topic for all those people who are doing bachelor or masters in bioinformatics, systems biology or biotechnology or any related field, biological fields or computer science people also. And that is bioinformatics jobs because everyone is looking for a job, better job. So you need to know what are the best field and where you can get better job based on your expertise and eligibility. So there are a number of jobs, and especially bioinformatics and data science are leading globally in Western countries, in India, in China, and of course in the Gulf countries. So this will be very interesting to listen the entire videos, and then you will be aware what are the different fields and what are their requirements and how much salary you are going to earn if you are working in this field. So first thing you need to understand, opportunities for high paying and rewarding bioinformatics careers are growing. According to the American Bureau of Labor Statistics, jobs in computer based analysis are projected to grow 23% by 2032, which is more than 7 times the national average job. With the healthcare, pharmaceutical, biotechnology fields leading the fields. Other fields are where bioinformatics skills play crucial roles, such as microscopy, geology, and wildlife biology, are also projected to keep pace with the national average. But the prospects for bioinformatics careers extend beyond a handful of job titles. Bioinformatics is at the intersection of computer programming, big data, and biology. And that is why sometimes it is also said as when biology, computer meets biology via mathematics. Anything that happens in biology in the future will have some components of bioinformatics in it, where you can go with a bachelor or master's degree and, of course, with a PhD degree. Due to the growing influence of bioinformatics on various industries, there are ample opportunities for those looking to pursue diverse careers in bioinformatics. To reap the benefits of the industry, it is important to learn it day to day, the responsibilities and the most important skills for these common bioinformatics jobs. Now, you need to know you need to understand how a bioinformatician in general thinks who are working or deeply involved in this field. So they generally look for some kind of experimental data generated and placed at some kind of publicly available databases. Then you develop some kind of models for evaluating and testing. And then you go for model production. And finally, you think for the hypothesis generated, or you can conclude your own hypothesis. So what you do is basically you perform some kind of research work and then update it by experimental data and go for planning and then final simulations. So what are the requirements in general if you want to work as a core bioinformatician? Then it is biology, mathematics, chemistry, computers, programming, physics background, engineer. But this is just you need to have the good knowledge until your school level only. So what you need to know or what you need to be familiar is basically the background of the domain or the field where you are going to work. And that is the only thing what you need. Otherwise, you need to have the basic and good knowledge of your school work or science at a school level. Now, what are the career paths for bioinformatics? So generally, a bioinformatics specialist is responsible for managing, analyzing large data sets of genomics, proteomics, or something else. The setting where the data analysis takes place can vary from minor variation to bigger variation. In the pharmaceutical and biotechnology industries, it is highly demanding that they need bioinformatics, where they typically involves exploring the human genome proteomes to detect how the drugs may impact certain proteins within the human body. And work often happens in a laboratory setting. So you are coordinating and then working with the experimental people. In biology and geology, the analysis focuses on animal and plants genomes, terrestrial data such as elevation and water availability, with an overall focus on environmental science. So bioinformatics engineers may work in a lab or out in the field. In academia, bioinformatics careers are related to the experiments that may not have an immediate commercial benefits, but could be focused or could be used to drive future investigations in the medical or biological research. So if you want to think as a layout, then there are something, let's say, you can work as a bioinformatician in agrigenomes or data science, as a bioinformatician, clinical bioinformatician, pharmaceutical bioinformatician, computational genomics specialist, or bioinformatics software developer, proteomics bioinformatician, systems biology, core developer, bioinformatics specialist in synthetic biology, and of course, you can work as a tutor also. Now, what are the skills and responsibilities to start as a bioinformatics career? If you want to learn the deep, I have two channels where I have uploaded hundreds of videos on the bioinformatics for all and change by science also. So the long videos now I am segregating and uploading most of the long videos at change by science channel, but the mixed videos, long shorts are uploaded at the former channel, that is Bioinformatics for All. So the key responsibilities and key skills. You need to think about the Linux or Unix platform. You need to think about minimum one of the coding platform. For example, R, Python, Perl, or MATLAB. And then you also need to be fully aware of the biological databases. So this is where you will always need to retrieve the data from the biological databases. There are two kinds of databases. One is where you can find all the reference genomes and annotation files. And another is where you can find the data generated for different types of human disease or many more types of things. So you need to understand how to oversee a laboratory information, how to manage them, how to design the strategies for DNA, RNA, and protein sequence or structure analysis, how to develop the algorithms to support the next generation sequencing data, conduct the qualitative as well as quantitative analysis for biological images, evaluate the drug candidates for their values as targeted therapies, assist in developing more efficient methods for food production, develop systems for analyzing the terrain using remote sensor data, create data visualization for use in reports. Now, the top bioinformatics careers and the salaries I'm going to present. The average salary for the bioinformatics careers varies by geography and industry. Roles in pharma and biotech tend to pay more than roles in healthcare or academia. In addition, many companies post the bioinformatics roles with similar job descriptions and salaries, but slightly different titles. I have also included very interesting jobs which are currently available, and it's like global jobs, which and one of them is basically permanent jobs, and from any country, any person can apply who fulfills the eligibility or requirement criteria. Here is a look at 7 common bioinformatics careers along with their salaries and the considerations. For example, the first job is bioinformatics scientist, which is basically highly paid sell job. So the salary here mentioned is 100,000 plus. So basically, so when you are saying, let's say this salary, but currently, even in USA and Europe, this salary is 20-30% more, depending on your experience only. If you have experience of more than 2 years, then definitely you are going to get the salary, annual salary of more than this, minimum 20% more than this. A bioinformatics scientist's key responsibility is to develop the software applications and databases to analyze the biological data. It is the role most closely associated with data scientists in the industries outside biology and biotechnologies. Coordinating with other scientists and professionals within the organization is a valuable skill for bioinformatics scientists. Maintaining extensive records of experiments and analysis is also an important part of this job, as it allows for the easy review of the past work to identify future research priorities. Other elements of the day-to-day job may differ depending on where a bioinformatics scientist is working. At a large firm such as pharmaceutical company, there may be standardized workflows for data collection and analysis, as well as templates for creating reports. On the other hand, at a startup or a smaller firm, the role may involve running experiments as well as performing the tasks, such as supporting the IT department. Now, the second job position is research scientist. Here, the average salary is approximately 90,000 per annum, most often found in the academic job or academic setting, universities and colleges or research centers. And here, the research scientist typically conducts research in a laboratory setting that includes both control and experiment groups. Experiments can be done only after a proposal is peer reviewed and approved for its methodology and validity to the scientific field. A background in bioinformatics is helpful for interpreting the results of an experiment, such as collected data from the tests conducted on the living specimens and for summarizing observations in scientific papers. Since the research scientist often conducts work that is not directly or immediately applicable to the business world, so grant writing and fundraising are useful skills for this bioinformatics role. Now, the most common job where your background of biology is irrelevant, that is biostatistician. You need to have good statistical knowledge. So the salary is very close to what you have seen on the second job, that is annual of 82,000 US dollar. A biostatistician focuses on statistical design and analysis as it relates to the research work. This role is also responsible for preparing reports that summarizes the analysis and refer to any pertinent research methodologies. The work environment may be a hospital or research lab, and the area of focus may be epidemiology, genetics, or ecology. The ability to create easy to read reports is a critical skill for a biostatistician, as the analysis is often presented to the clients or other external stakeholders. In addition to internal teams, the role is typically part of a larger research team, so interpersonal management and communication and collaboration are also valuable skills. Now, microbiology. So, what is computational microbiology? Here, basically, you need to work on the purely microbiology project, but from the computational side. This is what, in conclusion, you can say the salary is very close to what you have seen on the third job. Microbiologists, where they study the organisms such as bacteria, viruses that cannot be seen with the naked eyes. Increasingly, this role focuses on these organisms interact with the environment and impact human and animal health. So, microbiologists typically work in an academic setting, and an advanced degree is often required to conduct independent research or supervise the students or the laboratory professionals. And a bioinformatics background could help the microbiologist to interpret anomalies and other patterns in the research data, which in turn can be used to identify the areas of the additional research or to discover new ways that an organism may impact our health. In addition, since publishing scientific articles or papers is an important part of microbiology's work, understanding to display the data and analyze it and in an approachable way is a key part of this role. Now, bioinformatician, which is common, everyone is saying bioinformatician. So this is very common nature of job in bioinformatics. So among the bioinformatics career, a bioinformatician is most closely associated with managing data itself. This role is responsible for managing large data sets, developing data frameworks, and creating and modifying algorithms. Their analysis is typically used for classifying components of a biological system, such as DNA sequences, or for documenting protein expression. Bioinformaticians should be well versed in programming statistical models, combining data sets, and maintaining data integrity and security. Individuals in this role often collaborate with scientists and researchers to interpret and present data sets. Now, geological or geologists or wildlife biologists, these scientists, so this is quite minor. You will find less number of jobs in this field where you are just focusing on wildlife, animals, or some kind of organisms which you basically they are mostly out of the human living areas, and you need to just go for statistical analysis, their survival, their living style, such information gathering and large scale data presentation and a statistical analysis. So this is basically limited job is available in this field. Then it comes another molecular biology, which is very common, and almost in every molecular biology lab, the lab supervisor needs this, including the companies and also the university labs. So a molecular biologist looks at individual cells and molecules in plants, animals, and humans, paying particular attention to how they interact. Individuals in this role typically work at a hospital, university, laboratory, or government agency through some, though some may work in a corporate setting. This research is often used to diagnose and treat the diseases at a molecular level. particularly those caused by inherited genetic mutations. So, bioinformatics skills are helpful for the role of molecular biologists due to the size of human genome and the human proteome or a set of proteins in human body. In addition, the ability to analyze text, images, or sound files can help molecular biologists generate results from the large set of raw data. Now, so how to advance your bioinformatics career with a bachelor or master degree? You can go, for example, this is Northwest Eastern University or many more universities in India, in Europe, or in USA, where you can gain the degree of bachelor or master's program, and you can immediately start the job and focus on the healthcare information or informatics, biotechnology, like computational chemistry or chemoinformatics, by how to implement the bioinformatics in a vast scale in biotechnology and drug development. So they, and how to work it like in the extraordinary way in data science and export enterprise management skills. So this is what you need to understand while you are studying bachelor's or master's program in the field of bioinformatics. In India, many private universities are offering very good coursework, and it is not just coursework because I have more than 19, 20 years of experience. What I found with respect to the government universities, there are a number of private universities whose students are having much more knowledge, like subject knowledge or book knowledge, and hands-on experience in, or you can say the practical experience with respect to the government universities. And because the reason is the government, private universities, organization heads are more serious to give better result and background to their students to get the jobs or better research profile. So I will suggest if you are looking for bachelor or master's program in bioinformatics, prefer to go to the private universities where your teacher is spending better time in classroom and in the laboratory, because in the government universities the faculties are discussing here and there, spending even 20 or 30% of the class time hardly. So they are just wasting the time because they know they are getting the salary paid. No one can do anything. So in private universities, the faculties are feeling more responsibilities and, of course, performing the responsibilities in the professional way. But outside India, especially in Europe and US, China, Australia, they are like, irrespective of the private universities or the government universities, almost every universities have very good discipline, so you can learn a very good background in bioinformatics now. So if you want to think like how to work in the college, when you are going to work in the universities or industry, what they demand, more or less their demand remains the same, only professionalism changes because the industry people are more serious. Whatever they are asking, they want to be fulfilled. In the university, you can buy a little bit time, you can be a little bit delayed, but in the industries, they do not tolerate. So you need to focus on the knowledge and mostly the applied knowledge if you are going to work in this industry, and demands the innovative minds, needs applied knowledge of the theory, what you have studied in the coursework, wants you to know the latest technical development, and they prefer to hire the expert people instead of freshers. But of course, they also hire the freshers, depending on your background, knowledge, and hands-on experience. Wants you to have the strong data interpretation skills. Now, but if you are going to college or university level, you need to focus on the theory, not on the practicals more. Keeps you busy with like rotatory learning. Not they do not need that kind of applied science thought, and age-old, outdated syllabus are present there. They leaves you mostly unemployable. But this is not true in the Western countries. There you get the jobs immediately. Now, what are the top three jobs in the field of bioinformatics? So you can think immediately bioinformatician, bioinformatics scientist, data analyst or bioinformatics analyst or data scientist. These are the three main job, leading jobs when in the bioinformatics. Then there are more variants of these jobs in depending on the universities or industries demand. So types of bioinformatician job, if we conclude them, it could be, you can say, bioinformatics scientist, computational biologist, genomics analyst, proteomics analyst, data scientist, software developer. So what in reality you need to have, get familiar with the work area or work domain. Have experience in minimum one of the coding, R or Python or Perl. Know the basics of biological database. Have basic knowledge of Unix platforms or Linux. Now, if someone is asking what are the steps to get the bioinformatics jobs, so the key steps to get the bioinformatics job is your education, the skills what you have developed. Focus on the relevant skills, gain practical experiences, job searches, and potential career paths in one. So, if we summarize, because everyone is looking after the degree, relevant degree. So, after that, you need to understand the field, build the essential skills, acquire the needed certificate, practical experience, networking with people, and keep updated yourself. As I have mentioned, I have worked almost 20 years and in many countries in Europe and of course in India also. So I know there are large number of jobs for the bioinformatician and you can apply from any part of the world. And I'm going to include or present few jobs which are recently op- open and they are open for all irrespective of the color or region or religion. So I will say don't deviate yourself, don't go for negative thinking. It is available for everyone irrespective of anything or diversity. They include all the diversity, they hire from every circle. So now you need to basically create the layout. If you are bioinformatician, you think about molecular biology, genetics, biochemistry, biophysics, or multiomics. These are some of the layouts. Then you think about computer science, information technology, database management, computational resources, programming language. One language is more than sufficient. Now, what are the average salary of the bioinformatics jobs? As I have mentioned, you can see this is the American organization who have analyzed and plotted this graph. So you can see the annual salary for the respective jobs in when you have bioinformatics jobs or when you are looking for the job bioinformatics jobs, what you can expect. So this is the expectation of the jobs. So minimum it starts from 60 to 70,000 US dollar per annum to 120 US dollar, which is more than sufficient and very good salary. Now you can also see some of the more diverse way of the bioinformatics jobs and their salaries with diverse section. Diverse, for example, here you can see how the jobs they are offering for the different salaries, different sex in different sectors. So this is for comparative study. Now, if you want to start your career in bioinformatics, you have just 5 steps and they are quite easy to achieve it. Understand the field, build essential skills, get the right education, gain hands-on experience, networking with the people, and keep you updated yourself. Now, this is the American salary in the American organizations for bioinformatics. But when I'm saying American salary, that means they are showing mostly in dollar. But when you're here, if you are working in India or let's say some other European countries, then you can think in their local currency. In India also, there are very good salaries per annum salary for the bioinformaticians. Now you can see, for example, this is one of the job which is available in India in one of the international company, that is Eurofin, where they are looking for the scientists. So their core responsibility is basically to develop the NGS pipeline for analysis and interpretation of NGS data, which is quite easy. Organizing and managing large scale genomic data, should have experience in NGS data, in WGS, RNA-seq, small RNA, and many more. So should also have good programming skills, and then manage the project timelines, implement and execute data processing workflows, and automate the pipelines. What is their requirement? Either MSc or MTech in bioinformatics. That's it. Then 3 to 4 years of experience in bioinformatics analysis of various NGS applications. And the location is the Bangalore city of India. So you can look for, if you are looking for the job in India, then this is one of the job. But if you are looking for the job in Europe, then this is very interesting job, which is available in the company, which is the part of the Karolinska Institute. And there are 6 jobs. Of course, this language is in Swedish, but you can translate it in on the online form. So there are 6 positions I'm explaining here, which is available in the company, which is the part of Karolinska Institute, and they are permanent positions. And these positions are available for the MSc in bioinformatics or PhD in bioinformatics also. And this is very good job, excellent job. You will rarely find such kind of jobs. One of my student, she is working in the same company since last 7 years. So if you are looking for the loyal job and excellent job in bioinformatics, this is one of the finest job. There are 6 jobs available, and the link is here. You can look for it. So you can go for the details of this job, and the details are here. Qualification, you can see, I'm just explaining. You need to have masters in bioinformatics or data science or biotechnology or biomedicine, cell biology, and some related field. Or can be MSc or PhD. You need to have experience of NGS, some basic coding. You need to be expert in communicating in English language. So they do not demand Swedish language, they demand for English. Very good communication in English language. Then Python, you need to have Linux idea. So they are demanding quite less, and which is common for the bioinformaticians to have such experience. But what you need to have, whatever you are claiming in your CV, it must be practically feasible, which you have done really. Don't write anything which you have not done it or which you are not able to do it. So please be careful. And that's all for today. And in the same way, I will be also sharing some of the related jobs in bioinformatics and data science in India, as well as in Europe, USA, China, and some other countries. So please keep visiting our YouTube channels for further update. Thank you very much.